Week 19 of the 2023-24 NBA season is over, which means it's time to run it back. This is Run It Back, NBA Week in Review, Los Angeles Clippers edition. I'm Jose Salviati, editor at thePeachBasket.net, and formerly the featured columnist covering the Clippers for Bleacher Report. This is the show where we recap the week that was for the Los Angeles Clippers and then highlight their marquee matchup for the week to come. I will say before we dive deep into the week that was for the Clippers that I am using their new logo until someone tells me to stop, because I just kind of like it better than the old logo. I hope y'all do too. Yeah, I just think it's cool. So I wanted to call that out. But let's start like we always do by seeing where the Clippers land in the Peach Basket's objective power rankings this week. The Clippers finished the week at 1-2. Now, I predicted a 3-0 week. I assumed the week, or rather the team, would start to get ready for the playoffs by winning games, especially against teams in the Western Conference. Even more so against teams in their own division. It's time for serious basketball teams to start thinking about the 3 S's: seeding, sending messages, and securing wins. Instead, the Clippers continued a rough after All-Star game break stretch, losing to the Kings 123-107, then the Lakers 116-112. Both of those games at home. Then they beat the Wizards 140-115, but even that win cost them Russell Westbrook. Something we'll talk about a little bit more down the line. But overall, not a great week for the Clippers. Despite that poor showing, they remain at number 4 in the West and number 4 overall in the Peach Basket's objective power rankings. Let's shift focus now and take a look at the players. These are the best to do it in key categories for the Clippers in week number 19. Now, in weeks past, I've touted the Clippers' versatility in that they had multiple people show up in multiple key statistical areas. This week, it was all about Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi led the team in points per game at 24.3. He also led the team in average field goals made with 9. As if that wasn't enough, he led the team in rebounds with 8, offensive rebounds averaging 2, and defensive rebounds, along with Paul George, averaging 6. Now, Kawhi was not quite done dominating the week. He also led the Clippers in week 19, averaging 2 steals a game, and finally in game score at 21 in his 3 games played. You expect the best player to start to kind of bubble to the top come playoff time, so this is not unexpected. But I would like to see more names in more categories in week number 20. James Harden was the best sniper, averaging 3.3 three-point field goals made over his 3 games. He was also once again the top facilitator, averaging 8.3 assists over his 3 games played. Now, the only category left is blocks. And for the second week in a row, this category is showing that the Clippers might have a problem with rim protection. Last week, Norman Powell led the Clippers with a single block. This week, 3 players averaged a single block in week 19. They include James Harden, Bones Highland, and Moussa Diabate. The Clippers are going to need some rim protection come playoff time. That is becoming more and more evident. We miss regular Zubac. I think that's the guy who's going to have to step up. Now, the week ahead for the Clippers is not an easy one. Week 20 will be rough. They're on the road against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then they travel to Milwaukee to take on Doc Rivers and the Bucks. They travel then to Houston to play the improved Rockets, and they finish the week back at home against the Chicago Bulls. The last 2 weeks, as I've said, they predicted wins across the board for the Clippers, and the last 2 weeks they proved me wrong. I think week 20 will likely be a 2-2 week for the Clippers. They've got to fit Bones Highland, maybe Brandon Boston into the mix. There's a little shuffling. The dust has got to settle. So I do see them losing to the Bucks and the Bulls and getting wins against the Wolves and the Rockets. I'll end with a quick look at Clippers news. I like to call this full court press. I just type in Los Angeles Clippers and see if anything interesting and worth talking about comes up in page 1. Today, these 2 articles caught my eye. We'll start with the article entitled LeBron James May Have Lifted the Lakers, but it's the Clippers who loom large in LA. This is by Vincent Goodwill for Yahoo Sports. Um, what I like about this article is that Vincent called out the fact that the Lakers got the best of the Clippers in the season series in 2023-24. Now, it's the first time since 2012 that the Lakers have done that. The Clippers have literally been the better team in LA over that stretch when you just look at head-to-head competition. But the Lakers got to say now, hey, listen, we won the last game, barring a playoff matchup, which would be amazing. But we got the last game against the Clippers at Crypto. And they did, and good for them. I mean, they played well, and they won the game, and they won the series. But Vincent calls out that when you look at the big picture, right, the Clippers are looming large in Los Angeles. They are the team that are moving into a brand new state-of-the-art facility. They're the team that has been the better of the two, that's really poised to create a legacy of their own. It's a good article, and sometimes we as fans, we get kind of myopic. We've got the blinders on, and all we can see is what's directly in front of us, what's happening now. It's good sometimes to take the blinders off and look at the big picture. The Clippers have got a very good future out at the Intuit Dome, and overall, they've been the better team. And it's more than just, competing against the Lakers, obviously. It doesn't, in the big scheme of things, it doesn't matter. Clippers want to raise a jersey. They should have some jerseys up, incidentally. And maybe once they get to Intuit Dome, they will. But, they want to lift the trophy, right? They want to lift a banner. That's got to be the end goal for them. But they are the better team when you look at the road ahead. And obviously things could change, for the Lakers. But when you look at the teams now, you really like where the Clippers are headed. Vincent ended his article by saying the Clippers are just starting to build their home, starting to build their legacy. And realistically, they've been doing that for a while, right? Just tiny, tiny steps. Their fan base is growing. They've got the new logo that we called out earlier. They've got their new home. It's an exciting time to be a fan of the Clippers, and certainly will be exciting to see them march into it next season, and hopefully for the long-suffering fan base to see them lift the LOB sometime in the near future. Next up is Clippers. Russell Westbrook exits with broken left hand in a win over the Wizards. This was not credited to anybody. It's just by AP. So I'm guessing some AI wrote this. I don't know. And listen, generally, I like to keep these to kind of, let's call them more obscure articles, things you may not have read or noticed. But obviously, this is the biggest news for Clipper Nation this week. And it's rough. And I just wanted to spend some time talking about Russell Westbrook. He's been incredible for the Clippers. Things changed when he decided, when he went to Ty Lue and he said, listen, I'm gonna come off the bench. That's when everything changed. The Clippers got so good, and it happened immediately. He's been great. He's been, a great teammate. He's been great on the court. He hasn't missed a game this season, averaging 11.1 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.5 assists over 23 minutes. Listen, he is going to be missed. It's undeniable. It's a bad break, no pun intended, for him. A bad break for the Clippers. But this is where, Bones Highland has got to step up. He had some dissatisfaction, understandably so. You want to play. He wasn't playing. He got sent home. But it's his turn to shine now. Next man up, right? And listen, I like Bones Highland. I liked him from the start. There must be something going on maybe in the back that I'm not aware of, because for him to get all those DMPs kind of baffled me a little bit. But maybe end of the day, Ty Lue just picked Russ over Bones. And so now it's Bones' time to shine, man. I think his game is can be very similar to Russell Westbrook's, in that he's an energy guy. He comes in, he disrupts. He's not particularly great defensively, but he makes those efforts. He'll dive for loose balls. He, like Russell, may take shots that probably shouldn't be taken at times. But he's shown that energy. He's shown the ability to make a good pass. He's shown the ability to take and make good shots. I think he is primed to take this role. And listen, it's your time now, Brandon. Boston might get some time, but I think Bones Hyland is going to be the guy. And Russell Westbrook was great in the time that he had. Bones, now it's your turn. I'm excited to see what he has in store for the balance of the season and into the playoffs. That's it. Week 19 of the Clippers 2023-24 NBA season is in the books. Join us again next week after week number 20 when we once again run it back.